Morning, students. Dear students, after this lecture, you will be able to define the meaning and purpose of evaluation in adult education and state the principle of evaluation in adult education. Explain evaluation in adult education. Describe the techniques of evaluation in adult education. Explain the steps of evaluation in state in adult education because today we are going to discuss about the evaluation techniques for adult learning, or we can say that evaluation techniques for adult education programs. Dear friends, you have studied about different adult education programs. Now let us see how to evaluate these programs, and also in previous lectures we can understand about the adult learner, their characteristics, their problems, and features of adult learners. So now let us see how to evaluate these adult education programs or adult learners. First, we have to understand about the meaning of education evaluation. That means what is the evaluation, or we can say that what do you understand by evaluation. Evaluation as a human activities is not new. It is as old as recorded history and perhaps much older. The term evaluation comes from Latin word valor, which means strength. Educators use the term to identify the process of determining the strength or value of work. It is a way of measuring the results of educational activities. The different kinds of evaluation may be classified according to the degree of their formality and precision. This division is usually made on three levels. First one is informal evaluation, second one is semi-formal evaluation, and third one is formal evaluation. Informal evaluation, the everyday sizing up of one's work is informal education. All adult educators do some sizing up, even though they may not refer to it as evaluation. Informal evaluation is less precise, that is fixed, and less reliable, that means its consistency. Some of the source of information for informal evaluation are: first one is observation of the work done by the learners each time the groups meets. And second one is giving informal tests. Third one is talking to the learners outside of the scheduled meetings. Next, noting changes, if any, in learner practices in their homes, in their places of work, and in the community. And next, conferring, that is talk with other instructor and supervisor. Semi-formal evaluation. This is the more systematic and reliable types of evaluation than the informal type. Much of the evidence in semi-formal evaluation comes from these sources. First one is surveys to determine changes in practices. Second one is objective scale and rating sheets. And third one is judgment of experts. Next, formal evaluation. Formal evaluation is a type of scientific research in which all the pertinent, that is relevant, facts are gathered and the variables controlled by means of statistical procedure. This kind of evaluation usually requires considerable time and much training in methods of research with the aids of specialists. The teacher of adults can do excellent research work and should be encouraged to do it. Evaluation is the comparison of actual project impact against the agreed strategic plans. It looks at what you set out to do, what you have accomplished, and how you have accomplished. It can be formative, that is, taking place during the life of a project or organization with the intention of improving the strategy or way of functioning of the project or organization. It can also be summative, that is, drawing learning from a completed project or an organization that is no longer functioning. Formative evaluation involves systematic collection of information to aid decision making during the planning or implementation stages of a program. They are generally process oriented. Formative evaluation is also sometimes referred to as context evaluation, needs assessment, or diagnostic research. They usually involve staff which is directly responsible for the activity and may also involve external evaluators to bring new approaches or perspectives. Summative evaluation are usually carried out as a program is finishing or after completion of a program in order to sum up the achievements, impact, and lessons learned. They are useful for planning follow-up activities or related future programs. According to Tortin and William 2002, evaluation is the systematic acquisition and assessment of information to provide useful feedback about some objectives. According to Alkin 1990, the term evaluation refers to the activity of systematically collecting, analyzing, and reporting information that can then be used to change attitudes or to improve the operation of a project or program. The word systematic stipulates that evaluation must be planned. Dear friends, have you ever thought why there is a need and purpose of adult education? Purpose of evaluation in adult education. The reason for which something is done, created, or for which something exists. The major purpose of evaluation may be summarized as first one is to assess learner's background or entry level knowledge to determine learning needs. To compare actual learner performance at the end of a program to the goals of the instruction. To determine the effectiveness of specific teaching material, methods, and activities. To monitor learner progress and attitudes in an ongoing way. To help learners make decisions about their next actions. To assess the effectiveness of the programs, objectives, concepts, materials, and activities. To determine the extent of learner satisfactions. Have you ever thought what could be the principles of adult education? Principles of evaluation in adult education, that is, a fundamental truth that serves as the foundation for a system of belief or behavior. First one is it should have a definite purpose. Evaluation should be made only to meet some definite purpose. They should not be conducted only because it is the thing to do. The feelings which come from evaluation should be used to solve the problems of evaluation. And second one is use of definite and attainable objectives. The adult educator must be determining, that is influential, his or her objectives in order that he or she may know where he or she is going with his or her class. He should state these objectives or goals in such a way that he or she can tell by the use of instruments of evaluation how near each member of the class has come to reaching the desired goals when the course is finishing. And third one is evidence as to change the topic. Evaluation is concerned with the getting evidence as to the degree that changes have taken place in people. The important things is to measure how far the people move from where they were at the beginning to where they are when the learning program is ending. What changes took place in their behavior? What practices did they improve? What skills did they acquire? What is the change in their standard of living? These are the some of the changes which are to be evaluated. And fourth one is use different instruments in evaluation. A number of instruments which may be used in the evaluation of various types of outcomes in adult education are tests, scales, check sheets, inventories, and surveys, scorecards, questionnaire, case studies, report, and juries of experts. The adult educator can select appropriate instruments for measuring the things which he or she wishes to evaluate. His or her choice of particular instrument to be used in any given situation will be determined by the educational outcome to be evaluated. Fifth one is cooperation between evaluator and people whose progress has been evaluated. There should be mutual understanding and cooperation between the person doing the evaluating and the people whose progress is being studied. This is necessary to secure complete and accurate, precise information. Sixth one is not necessary to evaluate all outcomes. It is not necessary for even desirable in most cases to evaluate all the outcomes of a particular course in adult education. It is usually better to concentrate on one or two major outcomes that need to be stressed the most. And seventh one is evaluation should be continuous. It should be a continuous process. The same objectives may be evaluated every time a course is offered, but the teacher should be repeatedly studying the content of his or her course, the methods he or she uses, and the results he or she gets with his or her learners. He or she should occasionally evaluate even the methods he or she uses in evaluating his or her work. Now, let us see evaluation in adult education. Evaluation in adult education. As educators, we all know how evaluation is important in a teaching learning process. Evaluation is one of the most difficult tasks we have as educators. It is imperative to know the extent to which we are attaining some of our objectives. It must be undertaken to see if we are meeting the needs of the adults in our programs. The evaluation process before an adequate job of evaluation can be done by educators. Stating of goals and objectives clearly required. To check the kinds of behavioral changes among the people, evaluation is necessary. When objectives are stated in ways that can be quantified, we can build instruments which measures the degree to which we have achieved our objectives and determine whether we need to reteach in light of what we know was not learned. Unfortunately, it is difficult to define ways to measure educational changes, but evaluation must be done and we must continually try to find improved methods of appraising whether the learners has truly learned. A evaluation process must be built into the program from the beginning. A dynamic evaluation requires 4 points for procedure. First one is a clear goal. Second one is an appraisal knowledge of the present position in relation to goal. Third one is the position at some past time, for example, a pretest, and the learning resources available to be brought to bear upon the desired goal. Evaluation is essential for bringing about improvement in the quality and efficacy of any program. Adult education programs, in order to be suitable and effective, need be evaluated from time to time. Like adult education program, their evaluation is also characterized by flexibility, heterogeneity, quality of being different, participation, and relevance, that is significance. This is again faced with some special problems as for absence of structured learning situation, variation in the rate of learning of the educants, lack of motivation among adult learners, non-availability of education tools and expertise. Who should evaluate? Every person who is the part of the program can contribute to the evaluation process. First one is the learners. Since the program is implemented on them, their views regarding the implementing of the program can be used. They can opine about their learning through interviews or questionnaires. Second one is the instructor. These instructors are the direct implementers of the program. They are in the best position to judge the results achieved and what changes need to be brought about in the program. Administrators. Administrators plays a chief role in administrating the whole program. Therefore, they become the best judges to decide about the effectiveness of the program. They should report about their observation to the whole team of program planning planners and implementers. Outside experts. It is described to call experts to evaluate the whole program, who will be in better position to see things objectively. Remark of the experts adds weightage to the whole evaluation process. Till now, we are all we all are aware of written tests, examination, viva assignments through which marks and grades are given. In adult education, the evaluation is done in different manner using different methods. Let us find out where the difference lies. First one is technique of evaluation in adult education. There are multifarious methods and techniques of evaluation like observation, interview, questionnaire, pre-post assessment, etc. The method which can be used for evaluation in adult education are first one is observation. It is an important technique of evaluation which depends on the faculty of seeing hearing, feeling, and noting. It is the most direct method of collecting information as the observer tries to obtain data directly from the scene or skills, attitude, and behavior of the person involved. Evaluators are required to observe objectively without any bias, that is unfairness, and record their observation immediately so that there is no distortion of information due to forgetfulness. By observation, the evaluators can judge the improvement in skill, whether the learners are enjoying the program or not. Second one is interview. Another method of collecting information is through interview. There are several types of interviews: individual interviews, group structured and unstructured. Social awareness and functionality components of adult education can be evaluated by employee interview as technique illiterates and semi-illiterates. Before eliciting information from learners, a rapport is established with them so that they are able to express themselves freely and fully without any fear or shyness. While asking questions, care should be taken that these are clear, simple, direct, short, and relevant to the subjects. Third, questionnaire and schedule. Questionnaire is an extensively, that is broadly used device with respondents having adequate reading and writing skills. The word questionnaire refers to a series of questions which the respondent fills in himself. There are two types of questions: closed ended and open ended. Closed ended, that provides a set of answers from which the respondent must choose. Multiple choice questions are closed ended questions. And open ended, unstructured question in which, unlike in a multiple choice question, possible answers are not suggested, and the learner answers it in his or her own words. The closed form requires the respondent to give answer only in yes or no or put a tick mark against one of the choices. The open-ended questions, on other hand, gives freedom to individual answer in his or her own words. Evaluators can use either or both the type of questions while constructing a questionnaire. And fourth one is conversational approach. Adult learners may not be able to respond to written questions through written answers. Therefore, one may adopt simple conversational approach to assess the knowledge and attitude of learners in a natural setting without making them aware that they are being evaluated. And fifth one is participatory evaluation. In this technique, the evaluators are expected to refrain from taking unilateral decisions on the effectiveness of the program, and an individual falling under the review of evaluation may actively be involved in the process of evaluation. Both the evaluators and the participants may sit together and take stock of the situation. Each participant may be given freedom to say how he or she feels or experiences the situation. And sixth one is pre-post assessment. The most widely used evaluation design is a traditional pre-post test where participants are asked a series of questions both at the beginning of a program, that is pre-test, and then again at the program's completion, that is post-test. This design is believed to measure changes in participants' knowledge, attitudes, or behaviors regarding the program content is As for discipline children, in general, evaluators prefer to measure twice to detect accurately any participant changes from the program participations. Now, friends, we have already discussed the need and principles of evaluation in adult education. Now, let us see what steps we should follow the evaluation in adult education. The procedure for evaluating adult education may be divided into seven steps. First one is check the objectives. The first step is to examine the objectives of the activity which is to be evaluated. If these objectives are not stated in a way that the degree of their achievement may be determined, they should be restated so that they can be measured. And second one is examine what was done to reach the objective. This step is important when an attempt is made to evaluate methods of teaching or the course content. It may be omitted, that is absent, if the purpose is to evaluate student achievement only. In carrying out this step, it is a good plan to take each objective list in two parallel columns. The material taught and the methods used in teaching that material. What was taught should be listed in detail and in natural sequence in left-hand column. Opposite of each of these items, list of methods used in teaching should be listed in the right-hand column. And third one is collect the evidence. Evidence or information is essential to the evaluation of programs, methods, and results in the field of adult education. Evidence should be gathered at three different stages. Before the activity has begun, this shows where the learners were at the start. These can determine later how far they have progressed. While activity is in progress, it is often desirable to gather evidence after an activity has begun, but before it is completed to determine whether the amount and rate of progress is satisfactory or unsatisfactory, or that needs to changes made before more time is wasted. At the end of the activity, the evidence gathered at the completion of the project should show the extent of the changes made in the students or the degree to which the predetermined objectives were realized. The evaluator should make a list of the evidence that he or she thinks he or she will need it. Each item should be examined and then accepted or rejected according to whether it is in harmony, that is synchronization, with these criteria. Does it indicate an important change in the behavior of the students? Is it clearly a result of the end of the program? Has enough time taken place for the item to have been influenced by the educational programs? Does the items have a direct bearing on the thing to be evaluated? Is its reliability questioned? Is it free from biases, prejudices, that is narrow mindedness, and selfish interests? If a sampling procedure is to be used, will the sample be truly representative? And fourth one is sources of evidence. People taught are the most important source of information. If the number of people from whom information is to be gathered is not large, it is best to contact all of them. If the number is very large, It is sometimes advisable to select a sample that represents the whole group. Device for gathering evidence. There are number of devices that can be used according to the nature of the problem. Some of the common devices are questionnaires, checklists, interview schedules, etc. And sixth one is analysis of the evidence. Three kinds of evaluation can be done: informal, semi formal, and formal. Formal evaluation usually requires considerable statistical treatment of data. Informal and semi formal evaluation requires only simple process such as the computation of totals, average and means, medians, ranges, percentage and distributions. After the facts have been gathered and analyzed, it is necessary to weigh their relative importance. Discard those that do not have any bearing on the problem and those whose reliability is doubtful. In weighing the facts, avoid biases and prejudices. And seventh one is use of findings. Findings should be used to improve the adult education program in what every way that is possible. The finding could be used for program planning, methods plans, talks and discussion at community meetings, publish them in the local newspaper, educational magazines, incorporate them in annual reports, file copy for historical records, send copy to state supervisor of adult education and to people in institution of higher learnings who are interested in research in adult education. Thus, we can conclude that evaluation is the comparison of actual project impacts against the agreed strategic plans. It looks at what you set out to do, what you have accomplished, and how you have accomplished it. The evaluation process may be used as stepping stone to program improvement for program evaluation. The principles of evaluation in adult education are: it should have a definite purpose, use of definite and attainable objectives, evidence as to change the people, use different instruments in evaluation, cooperation between evaluator and people whose progress has been evaluated, not necessary to evaluate all outcomes. Evaluation should be continuous. Evaluation is essential for bringing about improvement in the quality and efficacy of any program. There are a variety of methods and techniques of evaluation like observation, interview, questionnaire, and pre-post assessment, etc. तो इस तरीके से हम देखते हैं कि एडल्ट लर्नर के लर्निंग के जो इवैल्यूएशन टेक्निक्स है वो डिफरेंट डिफरेंट तरीके से इस प्रकार से हम एडल्ट लर्निंग की लर्निंग को इवैल्यूएट कर सकते हैं. थैंक यू स्टूडेंट्स.